Hi everyone, thank you for joining me for this tarot read. We're going to go ahead and jump on into it. I want to do something just a little bit different today. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a past life read. This is where we're going to set our intentions. It's still going to be a general read. So you might find that some of it resonates with you, some of it doesn't. That's just fine. Take whatever works for you. Feel free to leave the rest. We're also still going to draw an energy card at the end of this read too. So let's see what these elemental cards have to say. Oh, that's extremely interesting. Okay, so I definitely, with this desert card, a lot of times I see like a solitude. It's like somebody going through a journey by themselves, a journey of growth, a journey of self-discovery. I definitely feel that continued here with this inner core card. We see a lot of birds here as well. Birds tend to be messengers of spirit. I have this distinct impression that somebody was on a spiritual journey in a last life. This might have actually involved sort of joining a, like being clergy, like a nun or a priest or a monk or something along that lines. It was like a spiritual journey. It was a journey of enlightenment, a journey of finding balance. Also like pilgrimage, movement. With this air card, this is somebody who would do this on the regular. So sort of part of what they did, and some of it might have been missionary work, but I definitely feel like pilgrimage, because I feel a lot of solitude in this journey, but not like, it's not sad solitude. For this person, it's finding that balance, finding that inner strength. Like I said, this is a very personal journey for someone, but it does have to do with religion and with faith. We're going to grab a few more here. Speed and movement. See, this is somebody who traveled. They traveled a lot. I do feel that this traveling, this pilgrimages that they would go on, this deeper understanding of spirit and this deeper connection to their faith, this brought a richness in their life. Now, what I also, and I can see it in my mind's eye, this person lived very meagerly. They didn't have a lot of belongings. And this was part of their journey as well. And it wasn't so much that they shunned material things, it's that they were looking for something deeper than that. They were looking for a different kind of richness in their life, one that comes from within. So they didn't have a whole lot. They had, light clothes on their back and a knapsack, and they would go off on this pilgrimage. I do believe that along the way they would make connections with others. They would speak about their spirituality and whatever, maybe their faith that they were a part of. And this would also play a big part in them feeling this sense of richness too, is being able to, because I do feel like they helped others. Like they gave advice depending on who they would meet along the way. If somebody was going through a rough time, they would sort of impart some sort of a wisdom that they had learned through their faith to try to help guide people. This brought them richness as well. It brought them this feeling of balance, of helping others. And that's why I feel in that ice card too, with that purity, right? Getting rid of what no longer serves you. And they didn't feel like material things were going to really serve them. Like there's certain things we all need to survive, and that's what they had, and they were fine with just having that. They didn't need anything extra. And to them, we have this earth card, we have this hearth card. The cave is like protection as well. It's this sense of coming home. There was like, it is where they mostly resided. Yes, they did a bit of traveling, but this person did live in something like a monastery. It was like a group of others who were like them, who were religious. Things were very modest. It's sort of life revolved around their faith and their spirituality and finding enlightenment and finding balance. So they were around like people. Within this, they found safety, they found comfort, and they found stability. They were able to sort of find this feeling of coming home to themselves, of feeling happy in their own skin. And I know that probably sounds really weird, because for a lot of us, it's that probably wouldn't quite cut the cake for it, right? We want more out of life than that. We, want to settle down. We want to have a family. We want a big career. We want this or that. For this person, I can feel it in the cards. It was like a deep sense of inner peace, this life that they lived. Like when they did pass away, this person had no regrets about the way they lived their life. So we're going to grab some more. We'll grab some Gilded Tarot here. And we'll keep building on this life story. So this path that they chose, because they did choose to do this for themselves. This was something that, a way that they wanted to live. This was not easy. In this Two of Wands, I see like lots of obstacles along the way with this person. There was a lot of obstacles. There was a lot of trials. There was a lot of tribulations. I feel like harsh conditions was part of that too. Because this place that they lived, as well as their traveling, there was, having enough food to eat, making sure you didn't get sick, making sure you were warm enough. These were real issues for this person that they faced a lot. And I do feel like they went through some times that were extremely harsh. Extremely harsh. They might have gotten extremely sick. Throughout all of this, I definitely have this deep feeling of faith keeping this person going. Like whenever they hit some sort of really rough spot in their life, whenever they felt like they were extremely struggling, they just always turned back to their faith and like this deep trust. Everything happens for a reason. I'll be taken care of. And they always were. They always were. I feel like that faith was always rewarded along the way. Even though their life wasn't easy and they still had to face some really dark times, I feel like always their faith was rewarded. And this person did do, they did a lot of traveling. I know I said that earlier. This Eight of Wands next to the Death card, I feel like this person passed away when they were doing this. This was like one of their last things that they wanted to do. A last pilgrimage, a last something. I do feel like at that point their health was kind of waning. I don't know if anybody had said something to them about this. Probably isn't the best idea. But this person was determined this is something they needed to do for themselves. And for their spirituality, I do feel like they passed. I don't know if they made it to where they were going, but they had a definite sense of inner peace when they did pass. And they were traveling. That was probably the harsh conditions of traveling too at that point. So in this line of cards, it's funny because I see like a crossing over. So, and I don't ever really get that from these cards. It was like a crossing over. And for this person, it was like confirmation of their faith, confirmation of everything that they believed in. When they did cross over, it was like this deep sense of comfort. Now, Judgment card, she's like karma. She's getting back what we put out into the world. This person felt like they had earned their good karma. They had earned their place. In the end, they felt like that was confirmed and they were rewarded as they passed over to the other side. Whatever they experienced, they felt like they were at peace. They were going to be moving to the place that they thought that they were moving to. If that was heaven, and they felt that they had earned their way into heaven, they definitely did in that part of their life. Once they crossed the veil, what they experienced on the other side was extremely peaceful and positive. And this one's a little bit more about their journey. This person parted their pilgrimage. It does speak about their pilgrimage. It does talk about the work that they did, sort of, I don't want to say spreading the religion because I don't feel like they did that. I feel like they went on their journey. If they met people along the way and they interacted, then they would impart that. I do feel like there were other forces involved that tried to sort of control the way that things went, like this King of Pentacles. I know it's a King of Pentacles, but I do feel like it's some sort of royalty, whoever would have been in charge. The monastery, or not the monastery, sorry, monarchy would have been trying to sort of push a certain faith, push a certain way of being. And I do feel like they had powers in the church behind that too, or whatever faith. It was sort of like this was the way of being. This person was just as happy to live their life. I don't feel like they put much stock into any of that went on politics. Politics is the word I'm looking for. There was a lot of politics that went on. And I feel like they completely ignored that. Which I don't think was very easy at the time, especially because of religion. Religion was so important to people at this time. And somehow I feel like this person found a way to circumvent all the politics so that they didn't have to play it. They could just choose to live their life in peace. They could still take part in their faith. They could take part in pilgrimages, all of that good stuff, but without having to dip their toe into the political side of things. And I have this distinct impression that this was very unusual at the time. This wasn't something that a lot of people were able to do. People who were sort of religious figures or who had joined the monastery. I feel like most often than not, people sort of, they kind of like worked for the king or whoever was in charge. They sort of worked on their behalf. But I just have this distinct impression. I can actually see in my mind it's almost like a monastery, like an old stone structure, and it's sort of off in the middle of nowhere by itself, very quiet, and I just feel like isolation. Like they were isolated, they were insulated from that. This person chose to be isolated from all of that and not take part in it. And even when they traveled, they took no part in it. It's like they didn't take one person's side, they didn't take another person's side. They just sort of stuck to their faith, stuck to their inner peace, stuck to their beliefs. And I feel like they never said a nasty word against anybody either. They were always extremely neutral. Because I just keep feeling like balance, calm, neutral with this person. And I do believe part of it was because of the way that they chose to live their life. They didn't want to sort of build wealth or build possessions. So like none of that mattered. They were able to sort of just completely remove themselves from the way that everybody else lived their life and sort of those societal expectations or what most people sort of like the ambitions, most people's ambitions. This person was just completely sort of off on their own, no burdens. They completely unburdened themselves with those things like ambition and money and possessions and politics too, and really, really giving a crap about what was going on there in the bigger picture. They just wanted to live their own peaceful life. In their travels too, they actually traveled to different countries too. In this, I do feel, and it's funny because I don't usually feel this in these different court cards. They usually just represent different qualities, but it's like different monarchies, different specific religious values. But because this person was so carefully neutral and calm, they were able to sort of traverse all of this without being harassed, without being bothered. And nobody really noticed them, right? Like they weren't loud, they didn't speak out against whatever powers that be. They just sort of lived their life and they go from one place, right? They do their worship, they go on their pilgrimage, and they come back. They never had any problems. And I feel like this was extremely unusual too. Like most often than not, people were very outspoken about whatever their views were, like religious, political, depending on where they came from, and it would cross over and cause problems when they were somewhere else. So people didn't do a whole lot of traveling like this because it could be dangerous at times depending on where you were coming from. But I feel like this person was able to sort of float. So from one place back and forth, which also helped them to further their spiritual journey as well. This was also somebody who valued sort of that even give and take, that Six of Pentacles, where they could give, they would give. But I also feel like they got in return too. And it's because I just keep feeling this quiet, this calm, this inner peace, that people would just sort of want to help them. They would be sort of this, I don't want to say like a beacon of anything, but they were so They were so easy to be around. They were so non-threatening. People wanted to help them on their journey. They'd offer them a place to stay. They would offer them food along the way. I do feel like they tried to offer people advice, but only when somebody asked for it. They were never pushy about it. So interesting. This person, I can feel the energy coming off the cards, and it's just calm, and it's inner peace, and it's just this like confidence in knowing, this deep sense in knowing. We do have the devil card. The devil card can represent sort of a destructive force in somebody's life. I'm going to draw a few more cards here because he feels out of place to me. Okay, so that's where he is. I just had to pull a few more cards for him to make sense. So this devil card for this person, what he represents is sort of those material things. He's sort of like, I don't want to say the 10 Commandments or the 7 deadly sins, but he's kind of like that ambition, the sort of those negative things. The person that the things that this person sort of moved away from in their life, to be able to focus on spirituality, to be able to find their inner peace, their calm, and their balance. That's what he represents, those things that they walked away from. The Nine of Cups is the same way. The Nine of Cups I see in this read, and I don't usually see it like this, but it's like those material wishes, those fancy things that we want to have, a big house, lots of money, whatever. This is also part of this devil card. This is part of what this person pushed away. This is part of what this person didn't want. They didn't want to manifest these things in their life. What they wanted was not in the physical world. It was more in the spiritual world. So even in this magician card, I feel like pushing it away. And that magician card can represent having the tools that you need to manifest what you want in your life. And I keep feeling like it's tying into the devil card, the Nine of Cups, and sort of representing like physical things like fancy things, or a home, or land, or owning, material wealth. And this is what this person really pushed away in favor of their spirituality. And then we have this world card sitting on top of it. And this world card is like universal rewards for hard work. This is part of what I was feeling in this line down here. And when this person did cross over, when they finally did cross over to the other side, and I could feel in these cards that they felt like they were vindicated for the way that they lived their life, or they were validated for the way that they lived their life. Those were the universal rewards. Once they crossed over, they felt like they got the rewards that they had worked hard to earn. And I do feel like enlightenment and a certain amount of seeing and knowing was part of that as well. But definitely that inner peace and that inner calm. I feel like whatever they felt was positive waiting for them on the other side. That's what this person experienced. That's what they were able to see. And that's part of, like I said, what helped to validate the way that they lived their life, that it was all worth it. Everything they went through, their faith, their deep trust, even when shit was really tough, it was all validated once they crossed over. It's a very interesting read. Somebody lived an extremely interesting life, guys. We are going to grab one of these Moonology manifestation cards. This is going to be our energy card for this read. We had one pop up here. Unleash your kindest self. Well, hell, that definitely fits with this read, because this is part of what this person did in their past life. They were their kindest self. There's like zero judgment. There's like zero playing politics, choosing sides. They were just like completely neutral, completely full of inner peace, full of inner calm. If somebody wanted advice, they would give the best advice they could, but never in a pushy way. And they never got offended if somebody didn't take it either, because they recognized that everybody's life path was their own. That they were not perfect, just like anybody else. We're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. And so it's important to be kind to yourself, to be kind to others, and that those qualities and those things that aren't tangible, like love, kindness, companionship, spirituality, all of those things, to them, that was more important than anything here in the physical world. Alright guys, I hope that you enjoyed that read. If you did enjoy it, if you found value in it, please hit that like button, that subscribe button. It helps these messages to get out there. Alrighty guys, have a great rest of your day. Take care.